living la vida low carb. This show is changing lives. We talking about your diet, trying to get you feeling right. Cut up them avocados, fry some eggs. Time to explore the longest running health podcast, hosted by Jimmy Moore. Time to give up the crappy garbage. We're getting into ketosis. Every day is a new step to your goal. Yeah, you're getting closer, motivated and focused. Don't stop, just go. Time to get inspiration from the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Hey, the livinglowcarbshow.com.
So guys, that right there is Michele Dodson. She is Michele Dodson, the number 1 of 5, the number 5. 1 of 5, meaning your family is a family of 5 and you're one of the 5. Is that right?
Yeah, it used to be, but then we added another one. So it's actually 1 of 6 now.
Busy working mom of 4. And I'm like, okay, 4, is there no husband? And I was playing that game in my head. So, welcome. And I put out the call recently. Hey, you got something interesting to talk about. And you actually sent me how you were working with a personal trainer, and he noticed a lot of things were off in your posture, and it got you to thinking, yeah, I've got little aches and pains and things in my body, and he was able to help you, and now you're a part of this program. So let's just back up, because I know you're a meat eater, you lift heavy things, you do all the things that people in the carnivore and keto community would know. Tell us your story of why you got interested in this, and then we'll get to the posture stuff.
Sure. As far as the posture, I was trying to, get in shape because I had 3 young children at the time, or 4 young children to keep up with. So I did hire a personal trainer that was at the gym where they practiced parkour and aerial silks and everything. And yeah, they're pretty active. Yeah. And he did say, yeah, your movements are off and you're statically, your posture is off. And I think that you would be better served if we fixed your posture first, and then we started training with lifting and cardio and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I became familiar with Symmetry for Health. And that was, like 7 years ago.
Yeah, so Symmetry for Health is the name of the company that do you work with them? Is that right?
I do, yes.
So it's symmetryforhealth.com if you're interested in this. Is this like around the country? Are there little Symmetry for Health centers around the country? What is that?
We only have one clinic in Folsom, California, okay. But we do Zoom with people all over the world, actually. And we have a school online to teach people how to do what I do now. And we have practitioners that have learned to do what I do, and they're kind of scattered throughout the country. Okay,
that's cool. I think this posture thing is a lot more prevalent than people realize.
Yes.
Because they deal with aches and pains, and they just chalk it up to, oh, I'm just getting older. I've had, in your case, 4 kids. The body down, and I guess it just doesn't really stay in line. I know chiropractors, when you go to see them, you always have one leg that's shorter than the other, and that can impact your posture. There's all kinds of things that can get you out of whack. What's the most common? What's the reason why people get out of posture?
Sitting, actually. Oh, that's the biggest culprit. Exactly. So if you figure we are bipedal, right? And it takes children roughly 1 year to learn how to hold themselves against gravity.
Yes.
Right? And then your body is designed to move all the time. If you see a 2-year-old, they're constantly in movement. They're either dead asleep or they're moving constantly. It's really hard to get them to be still. And that's what our bodies were designed to do, is to move. But what do? We put kids in a classroom at 5, and we have them sit for hours at a time. And so we start getting out of alignment as early as 5. That's when it starts. But you can really see the repercussions of that starting at 8, 9. And I imagine that it's probably earlier now, because you look at all these kids on their devices, not moving. And so it's probably starting at an earlier age.
And the video games and all the slothfulness that is modern society, with all the technology that was supposed to make us better humans, I don't think we're better because of those things, some of them anyway.
Exactly. So so like sitting, repetitive stress, dominance, all of those things, accidents and injuries, all of those things can make your body go out of alignment.
What's funny though, in like traditional cultures, when they sit, they don't sit on like a bench or a chair or things like we do. They actually squat all the way down. Knees are up, their butt's almost hovering above the ground, and they're just chilling like around a campfire or something. And what happened to that?
It's not as comfortable. It's harder to do, right? I can't do that. My kids can do it. And I know a few people that can, but I can't personally do that.
Could be because we've conditioned our bodies to have hard 90-degree angle the way we sit, and then of course when you start sitting, you start slumping, and so you have to like sit up better. That's where things kind of get off. So I agree with you. I think sitting is big. One of the big things I did many years ago now is I bought a standing work desk, and love that. I see people now have upped the standing work desk to not just standing, but also kind of slow walking while they're standing as well. Like, it's hard enough like standing still, much less to have to like concentrate on, really super slow, but still concentrate on stepping while you're standing up.
Yes. Yeah. So the slow treadmill is really getting more popular for sure.
Yeah. I saw one of the vegan doctors the other day was, I've been standing for years, but I decided to up my game. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. I guess eye coordination and like consciously makes you think about your posture in the midst of that, because you can't really fake that. You'll fall off even as slow as it is, you'll still fall off.
It's true, but that's just called the righting reflex, right? So if your hips are off, right? You said that a lot you go to the chiropractor and they say, oh, one of your legs is longer than the other. That's oftentimes not true.
Right.
Hardly ever is anybody have one leg longer than the other. It does happen, but it's not as prevalent as people think that it is. It's generally the muscles within that hip girdle are elevating one of the hips.
And that makes sense. And usually when they say one leg shorter than the other, I'm like, okay, so just move my hips back into place if they're a little off.
Right. And you can do that, oftentimes with a chiropractic adjustment, but your muscles won't hold it for very long, right? Because all of your muscles are there and they have a proper starting length, right? And either those muscles are either at their proper starting length when you're in a static position, or they're not. And so if they're overly tight, they're shorter. And then you'll have some muscles that are weak and not doing what they're supposed to do, right? And so those get too long. And if you go in for a chiropractic adjustment, your muscles are still either overly tight or too long. And so people have to teach their muscles how to rebalance. And that's a neurological connection that you have to make.
Yeah. And a lot of people have little tricks and tools and little like Theraguns to try to loosen up muscles, especially in that hip area. It's something a lot of people they're not mindful of. They go where the pain is in their body, like the popular pain. I've dealt with low back, still deal with it.
Right.
Legs, start using that like massage gun. You feel the tension release, but you forget about get in that little hip flexor and really kind of get down in there. And it's amazing how much tension you hold on to right in that part of the body. Right.
Generally what happens is you feel pain where the reaction is. So you have Newton's third law, right? For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And so generally, all misalignment starts at the hip area, either with your hips being, because your left and right hip can work independently of one another. And so you can have one that's really anterior and one that's more posterior. And so if those are not pointed in the same direction, it can cause a lot of issues with your hips and low back. And then you can have one hip that's higher than the other. And so all of that will cause tension in various places within your body. And so generally you have like, oh, my neck hurts really bad. but they don't understand that all of that tension is actually coming from their hips. And so they get treated for their neck,
Yes.
and they get treated and treated and treated, and it doesn't generally help because the problem isn't their neck. The problem is their hips.
Oh my gosh. I wish we had learned some of this stuff that now you know from the Symmetry for Health program that you're a part of, that you help teach. I wish we learned kind of the anatomy of the physical body, where this part of the body affects all of these parts of the other part of the body, and that way there would be some correlation. And you're right, when you've got neck pain, oh, I need to go get a massage, oh, I need to get a chiropractic adjustment, not realizing down low you've got other issues. Now, chiropractors sort of kind of dance around it, like you said, get you back in place, but they're not actually doing anything about the muscle part of this. So obviously people sit, some jobs they're required to sit, they don't really have the option of standing. What are some like day-to-day activities they can do to kind of undo maybe some of the damage that's been done?
Well, definitely coming and seeing me at Symmetry for Health, for sure, because we're very strategic. We actually measure people 20 different landmarks to see your posture within the 3 planes of motion, to see where you're standing statically as it relates to gravity, right? So we do that, and then we write you up a routine, a strategic routine, starting from the ground up and working the different levers to get you to a standing position within each routine or exercise. There are stretches and strengthenings to get you rebalanced. So that's what we do. As far as just the general public, I think getting out and moving your body as much as you can, just not being static all the time.
Yes.
So get up and moving. When you're sitting, your adductor and your abductor muscles are shut off. They're not needed. They're only needed for standing, right? So if you're sitting all the time, those muscles are weakening. So getting up and moving is really, really important. Making sure you stay hydrated, because your muscles need hydration in order to function properly, right? You'll have people that their muscles cramp up if they get up and move. Well, it's because a lot of times they're dehydrated. Sometimes they're really out of alignment, but it also is dehydration. So that's key too.
All of that is great. As you know, I'm kind of on this journey right now where I'm doing 100 days of like dedicating myself to definitely doing at least one 60-minute walk every day. And so it's amazing. When I started doing that, some things manifested pain that maybe they were like silent or soft in nature, but once I started getting things moving, I immediately felt, I got little tweaks and things. And so from low back to hip to knees to ankles, like I'm feeling it everywhere.
Right.
I know that continuing to do the walk, which is producing weight loss and other things as well, which will relieve some of that pain as well, will help. And so that's good. Do some kind of movement, keep those things going. Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. And finding a symmetry practitioner is good too.
Yes. So one of the things I have trouble with is balance. Like when I do yoga, I have trouble on the standing on one foot, and I'm moving around and can't really balance well. And I realize that's something that has to be like trained as well. Is that a part of your program?
Yes. Yes, for sure. We actually work with a lot of people that have Parkinson's as well.
That was called a softball. I knew it was. You work with Parkinson's patients? Is that what you said?
We do. We do. Mm-hmm. And they often have a hard time with imbalance. So we do work with a lot of people with Parkinson's.
So what's, besides some disease like that, what's the major reason why people have balance issues? Are there weaknesses in the muscles with that as well?
Absolutely. So you have what's called a righting reflex, right? So if your hips or anything are out of balance, so you have one hip that's higher than the other, your spine has to adjust for that because you only have one spine, right? So your spine will adjust for that, and your brain is meant to keep your head level so you can see the horizon and whatnot. So you're automatically going to have a reaction to that so that you can keep your head on straight. And so if all of that is out of balance, out of alignment, your balance will be compromised, definitely. Also, like we talked about, having your muscles in a proper starting length If they are not in a proper starting length, when you get up to twist and move, which is often how people hurt their low back, is by picking something up and twisting at the same time. That's because their muscles are not in their proper starting length.
Yeah, before I started my sabbatical to 50, I was trying to flip my tractor tire out there. It's 200 pounds. And I had good posture and everything to lift. Squatting, I thought I was lifting while I was lifting, and I thought I did all the right things, and then it just screaming at me in pain for about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the chiropractor was able to get me out of pain. And maybe it was accidentally fixing some of the muscles while I started moving, and then that kind of helped things as well. I should have came and saw you guys first, but I didn't know about you yet. So
Right.
All right. So, so when people come to see you, what's their number one complaint? Is it low back pain? Is that the thing that they kind of go, okay, the back pain's getting to be too much, chiropractors aren't helping? What's the major complaint? We
have so many complaints. So upper neck tension, right? Because neurologically, your head is connected to your hips.
Yes.
So if your hips are forward because of the lack of muscle control with your abductors and adductors, your hips are too far forward, your head has to go forward, which is going to cause a lot of upper body tension. Exactly. So that's a big one. Knee pain, ankle pain, hips is big, and back for sure. So
I know what you're doing is you're trying to help them kind of strengthen those muscles, rehabilitate, kind of, I guess, get their brain to remember this is how the body's supposed to feel.
Yes.
In the midst of that, if they have extra weight on the body, that's something you have to deal with as well, because that's going to impact why these muscles might be out of place. Is obesity another kind of big kind of commonality that you see with the people that come to see you?
Probably half. We work with a lot of athletes too.
Okay.
Athletes tend to be very compromised in their posture because they're used to doing the same thing over and over and over again, which throws your body out of alignment.
Yes.
So I would say it's half and half.
Especially like a golfer, because you got that one swing and it's like they're going to have like upper shoulder pain from that one swing. Or even
their body will be kind of permanently twisted.
Yes.
But we have a lot of bicyclers, a lot of marathoners and triathloners. We have some MMA fighters as well.
Keto can be hard. Tabulating, measuring, baking, taking 3 months to perfect one recipe, and to mixed reviews.
Did something die in here? Oh, I think it moved.
And by that point, you give up your diet, find a dark corner, and stuff yourself with sugar, carbs, and regret.
This, isn't what it looks like.
Well, this is where Keto Chow saves the day. The easiest, tastiest, ketoist meal replacement on the market.
It's like ice cream melted in my mouth.
Yes, but melted ice cream with all the protein, nutrients, vitamins, and electrolytes your body needs.
Oh, that's cool.
And with 3 starter kits, each with restaurant tips, keto food guides, and a ton of flavors to try, your taste buds and your waistline will thank you.
Thank you.
So grab your starter kit today at jimmylovesketochow.com.
It's so easy.
Keto Chow. Make keto easy.
Yeah, and so the athletes, you would predict they would have issues because of all the things we're talking about. But the people dealing with obesity-related pain, meaning they put extra weight on those joints and on those muscles to try to keep up with their body, that's got to be hard because you want to help them, but part of helping them is to get their nutrition and lifestyle down so that weight can come off the body. Do you guys address that at all? Or do you go, hey, go find someone to help you with that, and then we can help you alongside the weight loss?
What we do is we ask them if they'd like help with that area. And then we have many people within our area that can help them or help facilitate that.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it can be a really touchy subject, talking to somebody about their weight. And so we don't push it. We're going to do the best that we can to get them in alignment with whatever weight they're at. And then if they are interested, we do just refer out for that sort of thing.
Yes. Look, I mean,
because another thing is mental health as well. So a lot of tension because of stress.
Yes.
People curl in, right? And so they have all this upper tension up here in their shoulders because of stress. And so we refer out to mental health people as well if they're having an issue with that.
Yeah, stress, anxiety, depression,
Mm-hmm.
all
Yes.
the past 2 years, especially with all that we've been through collectively as a society. And I can tell you, like, for me, talking with a therapist has helped, but also like deep breathing exercises, meditation, and other things. Anything to relax the body really kind of helps relax that tension in those muscles so they can do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You focus on sleep at all in your program?
No, like I said, we really focus on, I mean, we talk to people about their sleeping. We talk to them about deep breathing, and we go over that. We do have a float tank in our facility, so people can utilize the deprivation tank chamber, pretty much is what it is. So we have that to help people get into their parasympathetic state,
Yes.
which is super important. And the first exercise that we always have our clients do is we have them lie on their back with their legs up on a block that will put them at a 90-degree angle. And we have them lie there with their arms out, palms towards the sky, close their eyes, and just breathe for 5 minutes, just to relax and get their brain ready to absorb all the changes that are going to happen.
I love that. And by the way, a flotation tank,
Mm-hmm.
that's like a dream. I'm dying to find one somewhere to go do that, because I think it would do a lot of good with some of the pain that I deal with. Because yeah, you deprive all your senses,
Mm-hmm.
all kind of like goes away just for a moment.
Right. Yeah, we have people go in for at least an hour, and they can do music or no music. They can do lights or no lights, and all that magnesium in the water absorbs into their muscles and helps them to relax.
And we're deficient on a lot of nutrients as well. That's a big part of chronic pain. You talked about being dehydrated earlier. I think
Mm-hmm.
like deficiency in general of salt and potassium and magnesium. I know you know these things as a carnivore eater. Like, people neglect those things, and then that shows up as pain in the body. And so there's so many moving parts to pain that it's not acute injury. In most cases, is probably not an acute injury. It's a mixture of deficiencies and insufficiency in how you're conducting yourself in the day-to-day.
Exactly. Yeah, I fully agree.
Yes. And so okay, let's say somebody goes, and again, you guys, symmetryforhealth.com. Somebody was saying they couldn't get into your username here on Instagram. Does Symmetry for Health have an Instagram page?
They do. Mm-hmm.
And it is?
Symmetryforhealth.com. Yeah,
So symmetryforhealth.com is the username?
I think so. It might just be Symmetry for Health or at Symmetry for Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So so if somebody comes to Symmetry for Health
Mm-hmm.
and wants your help,
Mm-hmm.
how's it go? What happens?
I bring them in, and what I do is I measure them.
Over
I'm sorry?
How does someone do it over Zoom? Because most people aren't going to be where you live. So
Yeah, so, similar to how you and I started talking, right, is I saw those static pictures of you front, back, and side, and I can tell by looking at you what's off, just by looking at you statically. And so it's not as great as having you in the office, because I can get the exact degree of measurement that you're off, but Zoom is really good. We have many clients. I Zoom with people every day. And then I write up routines. And so you have we put an app on your phone, and it has videos and written instructions for all of the exercises. And so you have just a menu pretty much that you just go down and you follow it from the first exercise to the last exercise. And then we have a messaging system. If you have any questions or concerns, that will send a message to your practitioner to ask whatever you need.
That's really awesome. I did find the Symmetry for Health Instagram page. So Symmetry for Health is the username. I got the number there and everything. Okay, that's cool. So you saw my pictures from the sabbatical, day 27 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Want to talk about what you saw? If you remember kind of what, like,
I don't remember everything. I remember your hips were off, shoulder was off. I think I could see an offset in your spine. You were definitely leaning forward quite a bit. So we measure how far your hips, head, and shoulder are in front of your ankles
are you
from the side.
Are you talking about in day one or the updated picture? Because a lot of people commented that they saw my posture improved as I started losing weight. Maybe some of the my stomach let go, and I was able to be more upright.
Yes, no, I did notice a difference between the two pictures. So no, it was good. But yeah, I think there was still a couple of things that we could definitely work on.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch. So it's fascinating when you're like, so I can fix a lot of those issues. I'm like, I didn't know I had issues. So.
Yeah, your knees are definitely externally rotated.
Yeah.
Of your feet. So that's something else that we look at as well.
So how do these things happen? Is it the sitting still?
Well, it's not all sitting. It's just the way your body compensates for the things that you do in your life, right? So you could have been injured, doing whatever. You could have been in a car accident.
Right.
Your weight obviously makes you compensate for different things as well. So it's how you live your life and how your brain interprets that in order to keep you moving and keep you upright.
I will tell you that both of my ankles have the propensity to buckle. And so when they buckle, you have to compensate in the body so you don't tumble over. And so I have that. And it shows up in the immediacy as like pain in my shins because I'm having to like tighten those muscles a little more. It shows up as pain in the hips. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm already noticing that compensation happening in real time because you got to function.
Right, exactly. And so what you're noticing now is a reaction from compensation that's been happening for years. It's been there probably since you were a kid.
Wow. Wow. And so is pain the only sign, or what are some other signs that people might notice that their posture is off that they wouldn't think about?
Goodness, usually it's pain. Pain is there for a reason, and we always say that pain is bad, but pain is a good thing. It's there to tell you that there's something wrong that needs to be addressed. It's like the smoke alarm in your home, right? It's there for a reason. So pain is the biggest one. You might notice things like muscle strains, which again is going to correlate to pain. That sort of thing. So most of the time when you're off, you're going to injure yourself in some way or another. So it's kind of, how do I say it? Most of the time it's going to correlate to pain. And it might not right away. You can go probably for years and years being out of alignment. And then at some point, you're going to get in a car accident or you're going to trip or something's going to happen. And if you were in alignment, you would overcome that much more quickly had you been in alignment. Like I know I've been in 2 minor car accidents in the last 7 years. And so I just go to my boss, he measures me, he writes me up a new routine. And where normally I probably would have been, in a lot of pain, I'm better within a day.
Yeah, and people like miss a step or something, and that kind of throws their body off. That's probably a common one where people don't see there's like a step down and they miss it, and the body's like, it's kind of jarred.
Well, I know even when my body was out of alignment, I could sneeze and throw my back out. Like that's how out of alignment I used to be, or I could roll over in bed and grab a kid, and there it goes. Can't do anything for a week.
Wow.
Yeah,
the whole throwing your back out thing is so like it's a thing that people. I threw my back out. It's like, did you like really, or was it already out and you just made it worse?
Exactly. Right. And that's what most people don't know is generally where you're feeling the pain is just the reaction of where the problem lies. So usually if people say my left side hurts all the time, it's because your right side's not working properly.
I like that. That's Celia wants to know if your program would help someone who's had, say, a herniated disc or some other kind of thing like that.
Yes, I actually myself have several herniated discs that all I do is my Symmetry routine daily.
So in the Symmetry routine, is it just exercises that you're kind of building the muscle, or is it a combination of things? I'm trying to get an idea.
Yeah, it's a combination of stretching and exercise together. It's not like we're doing CrossFit or anything like that, but it's static holds a lot of the time. So you'll get into a stretched position and you'll statically hold it for 30 seconds to a minute, or you might, like this is one exercise where you rotate your elbows to and from, right? So this is helping to, if one of my shoulders is elevated, it's helping to work those muscles together so that they stay so that they're, instead of having one higher than the other, it's helping to rebalance them so they're working together.
That actually feels good. I'm going to do that again. Maybe I had tension in there and didn't realize it. Wow.
Sometimes, yeah.
So a lot of people, they go right into some kind of a fitness program, and they don't prepare that their body might not be ready.
Right.
And so if they start a program and there's pain of some sort right away, is that a sign right away that maybe you need to fix the alignment a bit and get everything back into place before? Because here's what happens. They get gung-ho about wanting to do something. Then they go and do it, and then they injure themselves, and they say, see, lifting weights is bad because I get hurt. And it's like, that's not true at all.
Yeah, that's not true at all, but it often happens, and people drop off the face that they join a gym, right? And they're all gung-ho for however, less than a month, and then they get injured. And it's simply because they're so out of alignment and compensated within their movement patterns that they can't do the exercises properly.
Yeah. So Cecilia was asking about the routine. Is it available online since you're not near me? So they do.
It is.
I'm sorry, I was just going to reiterate. They do Zoom. So go to their website and check out the website at symmetryforhealth.com. And then you'll talk to someone like Michele who will help give you a protocol. They'll look at you over Zoom. They'll look at still shots, look at video, and be able to tell you things that you can do to fix your posture. Like I said, this is how we connected. Was she saw pictures of me, static pictures of me online, and said, you got some things that are off. Let's fix those. And so, yeah, she'd be happy to help you. Don't have to live near you, Cecilia. Definitely reach out to them at Symmetry for Health. But
Yes.
Let's get into your carnivore diet. I'm real curious. How did you find carnivore?
I was ketogenic for a long time, and even with doing my Symmetry routines, I was starting to creep in with some back pain, not sharp, but just achiness.
Yes.
And I took a food sensitivity test through a functional medicine doctor, and it came back that I was sensitive to everything but meat, pretty much. And I'm like, that's not normal at all. So when I was a kid, I was very sickly and on antibiotics, 3-4 times a year, every year growing up. And I was like, oh, okay, I must have leaky gut syndrome that I'm going to need to heal, because it's not normal to not be able to eat anything but meat. So that's what got me interested in eating carnivore, was to heal that gut and get all the inflammation out of my body. And within weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, all that achiness was gone.
Yes. And a lot of it's not so much the addition of meat. Yes, the meat's great for the fats and the proteins, the essential amino acids and fatty acids that your body needs, but you're also removing things like oxalates and removing like toxic substances like vegetable oils and all the things that could creep into even a ketogenic diet. I know the keto people, they love their spinach, and they love, various things that have these.
Almonds are not good for me at all. So they do the almond flour and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just can't do that.
Have you experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active, or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.
And so when you have knowledge, your body is giving you signals. Back to the kind of pain. When you feel something digestively is off, when you just feel like, ugh, I ate a meal, but then things just didn't feel right in there, that's a sign. You got to pay attention to those signs. So kudos to you kind of going, okay, this all meat, that can't be right. No. Did you know about Kelly Hogan at all at that point?
I didn't. Like I started following her after that. So, yeah, that was back in January that I went carnivore.
Okay, so this is kind of a new thing for you, and you've been at it for most of 2021. That's awesome. So what did you notice right away, other than the mental aspect of, oh my God, all I'm eating is meat, this can't be good, and kind of having all those hesitations?
Actually, I didn't, because I was keto before that. My diet was more limited anyway, and I noticed right away that like my food cravings went away. There's no more I need or I want this or that. So it definitely helped with that for sure.
What did your husband and kids think about you switching over to this? Because they had watched you do keto, but like this is next level keto is carnivore.
It really is. It really is. So one of my sons does keto with me. He likes being able to see a six pack. He's 18, and so he really enjoys that.
He's got to get the ladies, Mama.
He's got one, yeah. And my husband does it with me. And so when I said I'm going carnivore, he tried it for a couple of months, and he's like, you know what, I still feel like I need some carbohydrate in order to keep my workouts going. And he would play with it for a while, and so he does better with some carbohydrate working around his workouts.
Yeah, look, I think people that want to add avocado now and again, I even know like Paul Saladino talks about adding in honey, kind of getting targeted carbohydrate around the workouts to kind of get that little bit of a glycogen push. Like that's the beauty of it, is there's not like a carnivore diet. You kind of make it work for you, and it sounds like all meat kind of works for you, and meat with a little bit of carbs around his workouts works for your husband, and of course whatever to do his six pack and attract ladies. So
yeah, so dinners are interesting. I mostly just make meat. Everybody, because my kids are older, everybody has to cook once a week, and then I cook a couple of times a week, and mostly it's just meat. And then they often the people that are not carnivore fix their own sides. So,
hey, that's a good deal. I ain't making that. If you want it, you can make it.
Exactly.
So what's your go-to meats? What do you like?
Beef. I love ground beef. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I know it's cheap, and my husband's always like, really, ground beef again? But it's quick and it's easy. I also like, I remember Kelly Hogan talking about a chuck eye steak. We don't have them out here in California, and I found at a Winco food over by my house has them every once in a while, so I'll get a chuck eye. It's like a cheap ribeye, because the ribeyes are $14 a pound right now. So I've been getting those chuck eyes every once in a while, and they're half the price.
Yeah, that's a southern delicacy, the chuck eye down here. We put the chuck eye in the crock pot, and we let it fall off the bone, and it's I didn't realize it wasn't across the country.
It isn't. And so, but probably the one that we eat the most is a tri-tip roast. And I understand you guys don't have that back east either.
Never heard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorites is a tri-tip.
That's cool. So are you kids? You said you got an 18-year-old, and what are the ages of the others?
21-year-old son and an 18-year-old son. And then I have a 16-year-old daughter who just drove to work by herself for the first time a few minutes ago. And then I have a 12-year-old daughter.
Okay. So they're all of the age where they're starting, if they haven't already learned from mama, they're starting to learn the importance of nutrition. How are you teaching them? Because you don't want to give them a neurosis about having food be this like, oh, you got to freak out about. Do they have a healthy relationship with food, watching you do it the way you do it?
I do. And like I said, I homeschooled them, not the youngest one, but I homeschooled the 3 older ones. And so they were always home with me. So we always cooked together, and now they can cook on their own. Like I said, they cook once a week for the family. And so they know the importance of getting a good balance. They're not as metabolically damaged as I am. So they know the importance of getting a good balance of protein and fat and some carbohydrates in there. But more protein than anything. I keep, on them about that. You have to have protein to build your muscles, and you have to have protein in order to fix everything in your body. So keep it up.
Well,
so I make sure they eat protein before anything else.
And that's a good sell-in for the boys because they all want the muscles. But even for the girls, you talk about it's going to make your hormones better. Your menstrual cycle will be better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a good sell-in that way. Well,
and then for my girls too, being able to take care of themselves if they're not with us. My 16-year-old is now driving, and she has a job. And so the big thing for us is that you need to be able to defend yourself. And if you don't eat enough meat, you're not going to be able to defend yourself if somebody approaches you.
Ooh, and in this day and age of like child trafficking, you just don't play with that stuff.
Exactly.
Good for you. Now, the last thing in your bio that you talked about was you lift heavy things. Were you worried, like a lot of girls are, of, oh my gosh, I'm going to bulk up? Or was that never even a fear? You're just like, I know I need to build muscle, so I'm going to lift heavy things.
I need to make sure that I stay strong. I hope to have grandkids in the next 10 to 15 years, and I want to be able to get up, get on the floor and play with them and get up with no problems. I work with a lot of people that can't, are on the verge of not being able to get up and down easily. And so I want to make sure that I can do that. Longevity, right?
Yes. So do you do like a CrossFit style workout? What's your jam? What do you like to do?
No, I lift slow and heavy. So I have to, because of the way my body works, I have to be very mindful when I lift weights to not tweak out of a lift or compensate during a lift. Well, so even though I do my symmetry routine before I work out and after I work out, I have to be really mindful when I'm working out and what I do.
Well, that's always been my concern about CrossFit specifically. A lot of herky-jerky motions, and it's like you're inviting your body to get out of the norm, even if you're perfectly in symmetry, which is a great name for your company, by the way. Even if you're perfect alignment, you start doing that little snatch move, or they like split their legs and they lift, and it's like, oh my God, like my shoulders feel like they go out watching someone doing
Yeah, so that's what I do. My husband does a lot of quadrupedal movement and stuff, body weight movement and stuff like that. So I think everybody's really different on what they enjoy.
Yes.
I think people should do something that they enjoy that brings them happiness.
Yes.
Because that's a huge part of life, is to be happy and to enjoy what you're doing. And so I enjoy being really mindful and lifting heavy. And my husband's like, that's the most boring thing on earth. I can't see how you can do that. Yeah. And he likes to do different things all the time, and a lot of body weight movement and stuff like that. So we're all different on what we enjoy doing.
I do like the super slow. I remember I've had a couple people on here talk about it on my podcast over the years. Fred Hahn in New York City, and then there's this guy in South Carolina that's just down the road from me, and they were talking about doing that super slow, and then you don't do as many reps, you just do it like to exhaustion, and then you don't have to, you're done. Like you get it in a short amount of time, and it seems expedient to the body, as well as not damaging, kind of getting things out of alignment once you kind of fix it with your program. I love that you do your stretches and your things before, and then you do the workout, and then you do it again after. You're kind of saying, okay, body, it's all right. I know I put you through a little trauma right there, but we're going to be good. So I love that. I'm like your husband, though. I like kettlebell swings. I like flipping a tire. I like to switch it up. I don't like doing kind of the same style all the time.
Yeah, we're all different. So, and my kids have always enjoyed doing, like I said, the aerial silks and the parkour, that sort of thing, you know, jumping over buildings and running up walls and whatnot.
And driving mom up the wall, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's key.
Yes, but they're almost out of the house. You got 6 more years and they're all gone.
I hope. I know that's the key.
And then what'd you say, 10 to 15 years to have grandbabies. So get that 18 and 21-year-old on that. So
right.
Again, guys, go check her out. Michele Dodson, 1 of 5 over on Instagram, but she's also got the company she works for, Symmetry for Health, over on Instagram. Definitely go check them out. Symmetryforhealth.com is the website. And there's a phone number right there that if you want to contact and ask for Michele, I'm sure she'd be happy to help you. How many do you have if people call? How many in the office help people that call?
We have probably 10 staff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they could ask for you, or do they?
Absolutely. They could ask for me. Yeah.
Cool. Michele Dodson, that's who it is. Go check her out, you guys. And Michele, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Get inspiration from the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Hey, the livinglowcarbshow.com.
Tired of playing the mask game? Me too. That's why I wanted to tell you about the Unmask. This is a breathable, completely breathable. It covers, you can't even see that it's breathable, but it's breathable. Whether you're going on a plane, having to go into a store and wearing this thing, playthemaskgame.com is how you can get this mask. They come in all kinds of colors and everything. In fact, right there, you can see right through it what it is, but when you're wearing it, it does not look like it's anything different, but it's breathable, baby. Playthemaskgame.com.